Hello, this is Jim Craddock. It's May 1st, 2024. It's a Wednesday. Uh, so this video is going to talk about some stuff that you might want to listen to, might not want to listen to if you don't want to hear any bodily function stuff, etc. Uh, 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 I don't know how to avoid it for this one, so it is what it is. As an update, it's been a little over a week, I guess, since my last video. And, I've been enjoying life. I am so grateful to be seeing, well, I kind of got gypped. We had thunderstorms. I didn't get to see my son's final musical, his senior year in high school. But he wasn't the lead like he was for the play, so it's not as important, but I'm still very disappointed, and I'm sure he did great, and I'm so proud of him. But so I missed that. As far as how I've been feeling, so I was going to talk about this in the last update, and I forgot, and so this is the bodily function stuff, and you probably aren't interested, but. So going back to the original article, I've talked before about how these people, they held their urination. They literally wouldn't go to the bathroom, and they wouldn't drink anything either because they didn't want to go to the bathroom. And the reason is that, so during the kind of this, latter part here, what's happening is your bladder is filling up by a different means than normal. And so, usually your ureters would take the fluids that your kidneys collected and put it in your bladder, and hey, that's great. So that is partly going on. But there's also this differential between the fluid, and there's fluid in my abdomen, not very much, okay, because it immediately gets pulled into the bladder, but it will accumulate. And so what happens is it accumulates very quick. I mean, it gets put into the bladder very quickly. So basically it passes through the intestinal wall into the abdomen, and this kind of suction effect, somehow it pulls it into the bladder. So the heart pulling up, somehow it causes this fluid to get pulled through. And so that's the problem with that, is that it creates this kind of negative pressure down there. And so as this pressure, because that fluid then gets pulled out, so as that fluid is pulled out, that loss of volume, okay, that wouldn't normally go that way, causes a greater suction to take place into the abdomen. And so you're like, well, I'm not following you, Jim. Well, the problem is, after a while, that suction gets so great that it basically alters kind of the structure, and pulls somehow it pulls down on the liver. Okay, and so at some point the liver is impacted, and it begins to basically pull what would be your liver salts into your abdomen. And this is this bizarre thing where, okay, those liver salts actually help your food digest in your intestines. Okay, but as a result, you have this very high specific gravity urine, okay, all the time. And like I said, I'm sorry, I'm apologizing, so, and the article talked about this, and it said that, they would hold it, because if they didn't hold it when they had the high specific gravity urine, eventually when they got the low specific gravity urine, there would be no way they could hold it, because it's just too urgent. You have too much of an urgent need to urinate. And so why is this, why am I talking about this? Well, so several weeks ago, I was going through a stretch, and it's weird because the way this changes your body over time, you go through multiple stretches like this, and it just kind of becomes kind of normal. But so I was going through a stretch where basically I didn't need to urinate. I'd get up in the morning, and even right away I wouldn't need to go, and then I would go. I would need to go sometime after I get up, shortly thereafter, like maybe after my first cup of coffee or something like that, but I would need to go. Okay. And it was all this high specific gravity urine. I've been having it for ages. It's been so long since I had low specific gravity urine. It was back in 2022. So anyway, so having this high specific gravity, and what that means is there's a lot of things in there. Okay. But the problem is eventually, so you can see, you having this high specific gravity has lots of things in it, including, and so it was showing up on my dipsticks that it was testing for urobilinogen, and so that's a byproduct of your liver. So that was actually showing up in my urine on the dipstick, at small amounts, not the high end, but in the middle, more than it should. It should be zero. So uh, anyway, so that was showing up, and I wasn't needing to go. I would get up in the morning and not need to go, and I might go one time then, and then one time in the middle of the day, and then one time when I went to bed. Okay, well, that all changed, and I started needing to go in the middle of the night, and which has not happened in, a long, long time, where I would need to get up in the middle of the night, and now I'm needing to get up, twice during the night to go to the bathroom. And I had not dipped my urine in, oh, I guess about 2 weeks, and so I did it today, and I'm down to the low specific gravity urine. Okay. Uh, very low, like 1.01 and stuff. It's a very huge difference. I mean, if you were to, I mean, it's so noticeable. And the frequency with which I need to go, is much higher now too. I go what you would probably consider a normal amount during the day. Uh, uh, but it's indicative of an issue. Okay, so I was having the high specific gravity, and that's somehow related to the kidney function and the amount of blood going through the kidneys and all the stuff that I honestly, I don't remember, but it talked about how things like diuretics, wouldn't work for these people, because it talked about how diuretics typically make the blood vessels smaller, and and that would cause issues with this condition. Anyway, I am not going to explain all that correctly or remember everything from that article, but what I can tell you is I definitely remember the part where it talked about, you know, having the high specific gravity urine for a long time, and then you would reach a point where suddenly it was this low specific gravity urine, and so what's going on there is the fluid is just passing through the bladder. The kidneys aren't doing a good job. They're trying extra hard to get stuff out, but they're not able uh, to to concentrate the urine, uh, and uh, and so there's an issue there. And I mean, it honestly said that when you got to that point, it wasn't very long until the end. So I I don't especially hurt. I have some belly pain. I had a lot of belly pain like the night before last. Kept me up at night, and I'm having some arm pain and stuff like that. It's not bad. It's only if I like tense my muscles. But in general, not good. Uh, and I I I can't be upset. I mean, I am, but I shouldn't be, because I've known all along exactly what's going on, and I've done my best to keep things going, and I I think it's pretty apparent now that, I don't have a lot of time. Uh, eh, and I'm not exactly sure what else will be going on, but I can tell you that, this is straight out of the manual of what I should expect to be going on. And it, it's depressing, I guess, is the best way to put it. So I've got my follow-up appointment with this is my final appointment with my neurologist tomorrow. And, I was sitting here and I just had this urgent need to go. And I'm like, man, that's exactly like it said in the book, how they would have this urgent need to go. And honestly, what it talked about in the article was that, they at some point they would get to where they had this urgent need to go and they would start to go, and then that would be it. Just they would no longer be able to pee. And you can imagine, so what happens there is somehow it's the reason that the bladder is filling up is there's some type of vein that runs up next to it, and it causes this lower pressure, and it causes this suction and everything, and somehow that vein is going to collapse, and then there is no more filling of the bladder. And so that is literally like the beginning of the very end. And so that's literally the only thing between me and, there are no other steps between where I'm at now and that is the next step as far as I know. Uh, there was some talk about ketones showing back up in the urine. Shortly after this phase was to take effect. So maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. And that is really kind of what does in kind of the bladder wall and everything, is this return of ketones. I don't know. So we'll see if that happens. I guess I'll order some new test strips, and because mine are kind of getting old natural, they get a little old, a few months old. They're not super accurate anymore. But you know, man, I've been like ordering shorts for summer and stuff. Uh, but I bought heart tickets for this weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. And uh, yeah, I've documented this as best I can. Look, I've got terminal onset diabetes insipidus with candidiasis major, and what I know is that it's real. That I gave it to myself, kind of to cure myself from another condition, uh, based on a treatment from the early 20th century, and you can't find anything about the research or the treatment or anything anywhere. And it's really serendipitous. I was thinking about this weekend or this week. I was thinking about, uh, I was actually watching an episode of Star Trek, if you want to know the truth. And he was talking to the ship's physician, and he mentioned, he's like, he said, sounds like you're contemplating the spiritual. And I was like, should I contemplate the spiritual in my life? And the truth is I don't. I grew up in a very Christian household, uh, and I I I went to church and played in bell choir and sang in church choir, and but at the same time I was a math and science guy and engineering, and the truth is that I haven't I haven't seen uh, evidence of God, but at the same time, I have to say that the circumstances of my life are bizarre, and to think that I found in a book in a mental institution probably the only thing that could have saved my life and extended it another 28 years. The odds of that are, not good. Okay, but obviously they're better than the chance today, the Senate hearing uh, on COVID and China, and they're definitely better than the odds of a natural coronavirus, novel coronavirus, turning up in the same city as they're doing research on artificial coronaviruses. Yeah, that's not real, folks. They definitely somehow accidentally leaked that. So anyway, uh, so I don't believe in God, but at the same time, hey, I'm definitely led a blessed life. And I'm super lucky, to have seen, all of this the last part of my son's high school career, and know that he's going to my alma mater, and that his schooling is going to be paid for, and everything. I just feel so blessed. So anyway, that's about all I got to say. I don't know how many more of these videos there's going to be. I've been saying that for a little while, uh, and I'm fairly convinced at this point that uh, you know bad things are in my near future. Not like I haven't had bad things for the last 2.5 years, but I've been able to produce for work and everything, and I think I just need to start really, contemplating everything else, the end, and I wish I knew how long I had. I know that I mean, the thing is, it talked about how you couldn't hold it anymore. That's the thing, like when it was that really high specific gravity urine, man, I didn't need to pee, and I know that my body had fluids in it and everything like that, but you don't feel a need. Uh, and it all, uh well, I wouldn't say it started there, but there was a night about a week ago where I went to go, and it's at night before I went to bed, and it took me back to the days of when I first got this condition. So when I first got this condition, I could stand at the toilet or the urinal and just go and go and go and go. And somehow that happened again about a week ago, where I thought I had to go just a little, and man, I just kept going and going and going. Uh, and I was like, well, that was weird. And it was only about a week before that I started having to get up at night within the last 2 weeks. So, I mean, there's absolutely nothing I can do. There's nobody I can go to. Uh, uh, I'm just leaving these videos to document my story so somebody can see them and say, hey, there's this condition. Maybe we should learn about it. And document it at least. I don't know. I mean, worst case, at least maybe my family will understand finally. I've tried to explain things as best I can about what I'm going through at the time as I've gone through it. And, it is what it is. So anyway, I'm going to end it there. My name is Jim Craig, and hey, please forward my story to other people. It's bizarre. Tell my story to people. I want my story to be shared. I think that the fact that medicine has gone out of their way to redact knowledge, to prevent its spread, is wrong, and it leaves people with certain medical conditions undiagnosed, and I mean, the thing is, I would have died if I hadn't found what I found, and the knowledge of what I found is gone now. So the people that have the condition that I got into originally, they're all dying out there throughout the world. Anybody who gets into that condition, that hyponatremic, they're going to die. And especially if they, I mean, they have to have the whole combination of things with the heart block and everything, but they're gonna die, because nobody knows that it exists because they buried the knowledge. So, I don't know. It deserves to be uncovered, and it's upsetting. And at the same time, yeah, I am grateful I managed to save my life and you know, uh, get married and man, because I got married that year for the first time, and I had a kid, and I built a house. I've run, you know, uh 15Ks. I've done, I just got to see some places, not all the places I wanted to see. But I got to love and be loved, and uh, I got to have a great career and be respected and make an impact. And, I'm sad that I'm going to leave everybody hanging, from my family to my coworkers, uh, and most of all, my son. He deserves to have a father. Anyway, that's enough. I'm upset.